The Vera Time Show. The Vera Time Show. The Vera Time Show. The Vera Time Show. Let's talk about it. 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 On the Vera Time Show. Let's talk about it. Yeah.
Hi, I am excited tonight because we're going to be talking about a very serious topic, a topic that involves the impact that parents have on their children. And my guest tonight, Mr. Charles Yancey, we're going to unpack how important relationships are with fathers and their children, and how sometimes those relationships are hampered by their mother. This is very important because it's something that is across the board and an issue that needs to be addressed because it's not about the mother, it's not about the father, it's all about the child and the children. So, Charles, how are you today? I don't know what happened, but I am going to go ahead and read his bio. Mr. Charles Yancey II, better known as Mr. Yancey, was born into a military family in then Fort Gordon, Georgia. After traveling over the years for various reasons, he currently lives in Canton, Ohio, and is the father of two boys. Mr. Yancey has worked in independent entertainment and media for 20 years in various capacities, from party promotions to hosting in nightclubs and events, to traveling with an R&B group, voiceovers, and more. Currently, Mr. Yancey works for the Greater Stark County Urban League as a recruitment and marketing navigator. He also hosts a podcast titled Conquering the Unexpected, which is available on multiple platforms and is ranked number 144 in India in the category of mental health. Lastly, Mr. Yancey is the founder of the Fatherly Impact Foundation, which supports, encourages, and empowers fathers and their families from the womb through high school and beyond. What's most important to know about Mr. Yancey is that he loves to see individuals be prosperous and successful, as well as leave a legacy for the next generation. I am honored to have you here tonight. And I know you've been here before and you've shared your story before, but I am asking you to share it again for those who may have not heard your story in the past. So I'm going to give you the floor and let you share a little bit more about Mr. Charles Yancey and how did your childhood impact you and what you do today? We seem to be having some technical difficulties.
Well, first of all,
Okay.
that,
Beg your pardon?
I'm here.
Okay, well, we're waiting for you. Go ahead.
First, no, I said I'm here.
You're, you're freezing up on me.
first this is a topic that he didn't want
You're breaking up, Charles. Okay. We're
children.
having, you're breaking up. You know what? Satan is a liar. This is the second time we have tried to do this show. And every time, now before the show started, we had no problems. None. And now we want to talk and we're having difficulties again. Oh my goodness. Okay. I am going to go to a commercial and we will be right back. So bear with me. We're going to go and come right back.
Mama Knows creates high quality products that are available to be used on multiple textures of hair. Her goal is to bridge the gap to stop people from having to use multiple products because of families with multiple hair types. Her products are currently being used on men, women, children of all ethnicities. Mama Knows products are available at www.mamaknowsproducts.com. That's www.mamaknowsproducts.com. You can also find her on Instagram at Mama Knows Products because you know, Mama knows what you need.
Need. And I'm telling you, these products are absolutely wonderful. They are great with any kind of hair problem. They smell great and they work well. You want to check out mamaknowsproducts.com. Why? Because Mama knows what you need. So check out mamaknowsproducts.com. I'm going to be putting that link in the chat for you to check it out. Yes. Okay, so let me bring back Mr. Yancey and let's talk. Okay, I'm going to give you the floor again so that you can go ahead and share your story.
So as I was trying to say, because apparently this is not a conversation that we're supposed to be having, but we're gonna have it anyway.
Yeah,
I am, and I hold on here. I thought about the when that question. Actually, I thought about it earlier because I knew I had to come back on. But honestly, like my childhood is bad as as I felt like it was, because most children think their childhoods are bad as they're going through it. But as an adult now, and I look at the way some of these adults, some of these parents are dealing with their children, I feel like they probably could use some of that the way I was raised, the way I was raised, and I understand that there's a different way of handling children is there, and there's a different way of discipline. So yeah, as when it comes to my childhood, I felt like it was bad, but I definitely know I can see now where the principals came in, where the discipline was necessary, more confident in that. Got a friend of mine was just I was on the phone before I got before I got on the phone with him,
we can't hear what you're saying. I don't know what this is. You're,
did
we, oh man. And people are
so I
trying to
was
come in and listen, but
on the phone with a friend of mine, and he was telling me about a little guy that he was watching. Raised me.
Charles, ah, you know what? This is crazy because you keep chopping up I heard you said something about a little boy, and then there was nothing more. Satan is a liar. Oh man. Okay, I'm going to go back to another commercial, and we're going to come back, and hopefully we'll have this sound situation handled.
Hallelujah.
Hey there, Jason McNamara here, and I'm about to drop something truly game-changing your way. Are you tired of the same old 9-to-5 grind? Feeling stuck in obtaining the life you deserve and craving something more? Well, listen up, because I've got something you will not want to miss. Introducing the No More 9-to-5 Club Professional Membership, your ticket to freedom and success in the entrepreneurial world. With our professional membership, you'll get access to weekly coaching sessions, pre-recorded trainings, and a vibrant community of fellow game changers. You get access to technology that will allow you to automate passive income streams, as well as unlock all of our expert-led trainings in the back office so you know where to go for good advice when you need it. You will also use the club to build up a residual income stream with a 2-tier 33% affiliate commission unlocked at this level, allowing you to help people help themselves while generating a residual passive income stream for yourself. And here's the kicker. For a limited time, you can unlock all of this just for a $1.11 donation to our club foundation.
I like this one.
Your first month is on us. So what's holding you back? Click the link below, make your donation, and let's start building the life and business of your dreams together. Here at the No More 9-to-5 Club, we're all about turning dreams into reality and smashing through those glass ceilings.
That's what I'm talking about, Jake.
Whether you're a seasoned entrepreneur or just starting out, we've got the tools and support you need to thrive and evolve. And don't forget to sign up for our bootcamp training. It's the perfect way to kickstart your journey and unlock even more perks. So what are you waiting for? Join the No More 9-to-5 Club today, and let's make those dreams a reality. I can't wait to see you on the inside. You only get one now. Invest it in your better future. Let's make magic happen together.
No more 9 to 5. Let me tell you, this is a networking, mentoring, mind changing, life changing organization that will help take you to the next level. So check out No More 9 to 5 by going to https://bit.ly/no more, the number 9, the number 2, the number 5, VT. Check it out. No more 9 to 5. I am going to bring my guests back up, and hopefully we've got the sound situation handled. So, rather than back up and go back through your childhood, why don't you start with the story that you were about to tell about your friend and the child that you were mentioning? So, I'm going to give you the floor to share that. Here we go again. All right. I'm going to go to another commercial, and we'll come back and figure out why this is happening. This is a show that's meant to be heard. And yet
I honestly, unfortunately, did not hear.
you're breaking up. I didn't even hear what you said there. Let me play a commercial and come back. Yes, that is a promotion of myself. I am a certified coach, speaker, trainer, and 25-time best-selling author. The promo was made when I was a four-time best-selling author. So you know it's old. But anyway, I work with parents and children. I want to make a difference in their lives, and my coaching is designed to help them pull from themselves what it is that they need to do. Not me telling them, you need to do this, you need to do that. No, let's talk and pull from you what it is that you want to do and resolve the issues that you need to resolve. All right. So, Charles, I see you on the platform twice. So, I'm going to pull up this one. Okay. You're going to have to turn off your sound, though. Oh, yeah. Okay. So, are we better now?
Yeah, it looks like we are better now.
Okay. Awesome. I just need you to turn your phone around so that it's landscape.
No,
But
I'm sticking with this one. I'm gonna stick with this.
I hear you. I hear you. So, I'm going to give you the floor, my friend.
I don't even know the question.
The original question was to talk about your childhood and the impact. And you did mention about being disciplined differently from how children are disciplined today. You were talking about one of your friends and a child. And so, if you can share that story, and I want to get into the meat and the crux of what we are all about and what we're going to be talking about today. So, you got the floor.
So as I was saying, this generation that we're dealing with now are not as disciplined as I was raised. Um, growing up, you think that your childhood is worse than others. You think that your parents are doing you wrong, but as I look today at the way these parents are raising their children, I question it because they are not. They honestly don't care. They honestly do not care. Um, what their parents are saying. And so I was mentioning a friend of mine who was watching another friend's child, and he was on the phone when he called, and he told me the young man had ran out the house and had ran halfway down the street. And I'm thinking I would have never done that growing up because I knew better than that. But that lets you know the difference between how we were raised growing up versus now. So I again I don't I thought that my father was super strict, which he was, but I definitely know now again from based on how I grew up, it was worth it.
Absolutely. And I was raised in a very strict environment as well. And while growing up in it, I remember because we went to church so much, I said, I'm never going to church when I get grown. But of course, that changed when I established a relationship, a personal relationship myself. But as you were saying, children today, and how old was that child that ran off like that?
He's going to turn 5.
5 years old? Oh my goodness. And so let me, our issue today, we're talking about, it's not about him. So we need to address the issue of co parenting and the impact that it has. I have seen situations where co parenting has been absolutely phenomenal, but I've also seen many more that are not so much. So I'm going to give you the floor to kind of talk about your perspective on this case, and then we're going to come back and talk about it.
So in in relation to the topic, I am I find it interesting when you talk about parenting, and unfortunately, a lot of it is put on the fathers. The father, or at least the wrongdoing, is put on the fathers. Um, he did this, he did that, he didn't pay child support, he didn't discipline the kids, he didn't spend time, this, that, and blah, blah, blah. Even since I was younger, and again, this is not a means of bashing because men do wrong things. There are deadbeat fathers. There are negligent fathers. There are fathers that don't pay child support. But even since I was younger, I've always heard about mothers putting their children in a garbage can. Even as recently, you hear a lot about, I've seen multiple news reports about mothers killing their children, be it with their, be it there by themselves or with their new boyfriend, and the father is left out there, like, well, you wouldn't let me take care of this child. You wouldn't let me be a part of the child, but come after me for child support or make me take this class, make me take that class. But then the mother is just sitting out there doing whatever she wants to do. And unless I can prove it, unless I go to court, unless I spend all of this money to prove that this woman is unfit, my child is basically a sitting duck until you all decide, hey, enough is enough. So that's why that's how I feel about it. It's not just him. Stop putting everything on the fathers.
I
Everything that's wrong is on the fathers, but the mothers share just as much responsibility as the father.
I agree with you 100%. I agree because I work with fathers. I work with mothers as well. And sometimes what is happening is that mothers are feeling a sense of retaliation in some cases because the father is no longer in her life. And as a result of that, she hampers the children from being involved in their father's lives. I've seen it, and it really damages a child when the mother is pitting the father against their children. I see it. And no mother, in fact, mothers nor fathers should be doing anything to malign that relationship with either one. Mothers should not be belittling and ridiculing the father in front of their children. I've seen it. And children become confused. For a child to have to look at their mother before they hug their father to get approval? What is that? And what impact is this having on your children? And of course, they're not going to say anything. They're just going to go along with whatever is happening with the parent that has custody of that child.
Right. Well, see, the issue with that is, again, now I understand the whole stranger conversation. You don't talk to strangers.
Yeah.
You're careful about that. But when it comes to a parent, um, and I guess if we're going to talk about it in that instance, again, sometimes it's about a parent wanting to have control of a situation,
Yep.
and they don't want the other parent, for whatever reason, to be able to operate freely. But again, that there are so many mothers out there that wish they had fathers in their children's life, their children's fathers in their lives. There are also some fathers that wish that their children's mothers in their lives, because there are single fathers out there,
Yes.
and they'll go, well, you'd be okay, but no, I'm not okay, because the same support, the same resources that you afford the mother, you don't afford those fathers, those single fathers. I mean, he has to work for it, but like I said, when it all comes down to it, it bothers me, because at the end of the day, the children are the ones that are losing
Yeah.
out. The fact that they're looking at the father like basically he's a stranger, and now it takes time for that child to really understand. Wait a minute, this is my father. I shouldn't be afraid of him. I shouldn't treat him like, again, like you treat strangers. But in this day, in this day and time, that's what's been happening.
And it's not right. And I want to cite an instance. My brother, for example, he raised his children as a single dad, and he raised four children as a single dad after his divorce. But the beautiful thing is the mother stayed in her children's lives. And the co-parenting is absolutely beautiful. And these children have grown up, they're all grown now. They've grown up to be healthy, very connected emotionally, um, because they didn't see, just because the parents could not make it, the children did not see any contention between the father and the mother. That's what makes for a healthy separation of father and mother from their children. People, please understand how you relate, respond, and react in situations. Only you can control how you relate, react, and respond. You cannot control anybody else. And oftentimes, mothers are trying to control the situation because they're hurt, or they're bitter, or they're resentful. And it's got to stop. It's got to stop. All right, Charles, I'm going to give you the floor.
No, I'm listening. The thing is, you have to understand the emotional damage. I understand that was it's a meme or it's a joke on TikTok or whatever. Some people use it as part of their content, but it really is emotional damage because that child
Yes,
is confused. They don't know, that how to handle other people. I mean, I was raised, more of a protective, more of a sheltered upbringing, and that was mainly because of my father being, being a preacher's kid. We're
yes,
expected
me
to act
too.
a certain, expected to act a certain way. So um, we don't get, I guess, as you say, we won't get the same grace as others. They're a little more strict on us. So that was a little different, but you really have to stop and think, on how this child is going to interact when they get in this, when they go to school, when they again, just being in public, how to interact with other people. And then I know in some cases how a parent will demand respect at home, but when the child goes out, it's like that respect goes out the window,
You
because
know,
that's how my mom allows me to do this, my mom allows me to do that, my dad allows me to do this, my dad allows me to do that, but that does not translate into respect in outside the home. And there should be respect, the same respect that you have for your parents inside the home should be the same respect that you give people outside. Inside and outside, the rules should not change.
absolutely. And unfortunately, even children are disrespecting their parents. I was with someone just the other day, and was talking to her son, and he actually called her a derogatory name. And of course, me, I wasn't going to just sit there and not say anything. It's like, you owe your mother an apology. How dare you say that to her? And then he said, well, she said that to me. And I'm like, this is not good. This is not good. And so children imitate what they see. And if they see that their mother is disrespecting their father, or if the father is disrespecting the mother, then they're going to do the same.
Right. Well, here's my other thing, and again, this may not be agreed with, but because I've heard this, and I know we gentle parenting has been discussed, and corporal punishment is not always necessary. Um, but like I said, when you have a 5-year old that will run out the house with no thought in the world, um, not
That's a
only that,
problem.
when you talk about um, even in school, these kids are they're misbehaving. You got school shootings, you got Even at the matter of fact, the same young man I'm talking about, he's gotten in trouble. He's in kindergarten and has gotten suspended from school in kindergarten for hitting teachers, hitting other students. I think he hit a security guard. And you're like, wait a minute, at 5, if he's doing this at 5, then
I
what?
have to ask, what is his home environment like?
I was not going to speak on that because
Well, but look, Charles, the bottom line is if this child is behaving like that, there's a reason for it. There's a reason for him to be behaving like that. So, what is his environment? You don't have to get into the particulars because I have no idea who you're talking about, and it doesn't matter. The fact is, you've got a 5-year-old walking out the house when he wants to, beating up on teachers and security guards. Something's going on in that house. Now, come on now.
well, I will say, as I've already said, I believe the discipline is a little more lax than what it should be. I know that his mother does discipline him. I believe his grandmother does, but I think probably the most important thing that we have to mention, there is no father in the home. So, with that being said, and I can't speak on the relationship between a mother and a father, but I will say that that is a part of that's might probably a huge part of why he may be acting like that. Now, mind you, as you know, father figures or his mother's friends, we try to talk to him. We try to help him understand, that's not okay. You should honestly, one, listen to your mother, be respectful, and two, your actions are not going to help you later on. So he does have quote unquote father figures around him, but again, that's not the case in every situation. Um,
Can I ask a question?
Go ahead.
Okay. This child is vying for attention. And in addition to the lack of discipline, my next question is, have they tuned in to the talents and the gifts that this child has? And have they nurtured it and got him more involved in positive things that's going to be in line with who he was? I mean, come on, we were born with purpose. So children are born with purpose. And if parents can tune into that purpose by observing the talents and the skills that a child has and putting them in positions where those things can be nurtured, discipline and these behaviors will minimize. I know without a doubt, put him into environments that tie in with who his God given gifts are. And all this stuff will begin to minimize.
So I don't, as far as I know she was asking me, well, the son past Sunday, she wants to take him to Sunday school because church is important.
Yeah.
Um, so I know that has been that was a question. I don't know how much more outside of that. Um, but kind of getting back to the topic, that is unfortunately still back to where, again, regardless of what you get them involved in, if all the pieces are not in place
I agree.
to make sure that he again understands both sides, because yeah, you can have a mother that tries and works, and there's been multiple success stories in which single mothers have done excellent jobs in raising their sons and raising their children. Period. But every child's not the same.
No,
Every child's not
that's
the same,
true.
so therefore you can't go, well, she raised her kids and this person. No, every
Right.
child is different, and if that child needs a father figure, if that child needs their father, then you cannot go, well, I can do. I'm strong. Sometimes that's where that pride comes in. That's where that ego comes in, and I'm an independent woman. I'm strong, and I get it. Strong black woman, white woman, whatever woman you are, you still cannot take the place of the father.
I agree 100%. And let me just kind of say, I raised a son as a single mom. I left his father when my son was 6 months old. It was very important because I grew up not knowing my biological father. It was very important that my son have a relationship with his dad. So I didn't tell my son, it was none of my son's business nor concern to know the ins and outs of my relationship with his dad. He didn't need to know that. And I didn't need to tell him. Oftentimes, parents insinuate their children into their own personal lives. That's not good. So I didn't do that because I wanted my son to have a relationship with his dad. His dad moved to another state. When I moved back to Ohio, my son was 4 years old. I still wanted him to have a relationship with his dad. And so we did a thing where in kindergarten he was with me, in first grade he was with his dad, in second grade he was with me, and we did that back and forth for up until the fifth grade.
Right.
Fifth grade, some things happened which I was not aware of with his dad. It was my son who came back and said to me, Mom, I don't ever want to go back to my dad again. That was his choice, not mine. And I said to him, well, okay, you know, now he did establish a relationship. My son is 42, will be 42 this year. He does have a relationship with his dad now, you know, but again, it was not my place to insinuate my child into what was going on with me and my ex husband. Because when you do that, what you're doing is you are not allowing your child to have their own impression and relationship with their father, and vice versa. This is serious stuff. All right, Charles, go ahead.
Well, here's the other thing again, what we have to come back to is understanding what's most important because sometimes it comes down to money. Um, Again, if we really want to be, I guess I say put everything on the table. Sometimes it comes down to a financial gain when it comes to how a child is being raised, or when you talk about back again proper co-parenting, and yeah, both parents are responsible, financially responsible. But when one parent decides, well, I'm going to manipulate the system, or I'm going to do everything that I can to disable or destroy the other parent, now that child will never be able to understand that or understand where that father or that mother is coming from because that parent is at a disadvantage. Um, because of that mother, as you said, being vindictive, vengeful, whatever it is, just a negative outlook on that how the importance of co-parenting. And when that happens, again, that goes back to the scripture that says the love of money is the root of all evil.
Yes.
And then
And, oh, go ahead.
and when that happens, that again changes how that child reacts. Even when it comes down, because I know some other young people who are now are entitled because of they were raised or I get this, I can get what I want and this, not just because I asked, they don't earn it. So now they feel entitled. And that's not how it's supposed to go. That's not how the world is going to treat these children when they get when they become grown or whatever, or when they finally move out of their parents' house. That's not how it's going to be. So why are you setting them up to think that that's how the world goes? It's all about money. It's not all about money. It's actually
No.
about work too, and that's why co-parenting is important because it's about work.
And not only that, children don't care about I mean, yeah, you can give them and give them and give them. They don't care about that. What they care about is your time, spending time with them, engaging them, loving on them. A lot of times, parents that are in position will throw money at their children and do things like that when all that child wants is your time. And he all that child wants is for you to show you care about, you are concerned about them. This, and we're talking about parental styles, and there are four basic parental styles. The first one is the promiscuous or the permissive parent. The parent who wants to be their child's best friend. The parent who doesn't want to ruffle any feathers because their child may buck against what they're saying they need to do. A permissive child, a permissive parent does not have boundaries, and if they do have boundaries, they're inconsistent with those boundaries. And that impacts on a child. It causes a child to feel entitled. It causes a child to lack the discipline and the sense of responsibility that is required to be an adult. So, that permissive parent, your child is not your best friend. Your child is your child. And you need to use all that you can within you to nurture, support, encourage, and yes, discipline without hitting them, without yelling at them all the time, because those things also cause trauma, cause depression, anxiety, cause all kinds of issues and problems. All right, Charles, I want to talk about all of those different parental styles, but I don't want to just do all the talking and not have you come back.
Well, sometimes, and when it comes, if we're going to talk about just that one in particular, there's, I believe that that's one of the things, one of the parenting styles that is very prominent in this day and time.
Yes, it
And
is.
because we talk about, like I said, I mentioned earlier in the show, how I was raised and how I, did I disagree with some of the, how I was raised to a degree? Yes. But again, if you don't take the time to stop and think about what really happened, what was going on, and why they did it, then yeah, you're going to grow up with resentment and feel like, okay, well, I'm not going to do this, because this is a line I hear so much with parents, and I think I even used it myself. I'm not gonna do what my parents did. I'm not gonna raise my children how my parents raised me. And then your children start running over you. Then your children start doing all kind of crazy stuff that you go, well, I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna figure it out. Yeah, but how can you, when you allow them to do whatever they wanted to do? Now you want to be a disciplinarian. Now it's too late.
Absolutely. And you cannot wait until a child is in middle school or high school to start trying to shape, mold, and make them do. You got to start even before a child is born, to be honest. But anyway, that's a whole nother story that I can talk about. But I want to talk about the other parental style that you and I grew up with, the authoritative, or the no, I'm sorry, the authoritarian father or parent or parental style. The authoritarian, that's where discipline was hard and heavy. And when that happens, children tend to resist. And they resist by going out and looking for what they're not getting, because the authoritarian parent is the parent that says, do as I say, not, do because I said so. You need to do this. And oftentimes there is a lack of communication between parents and children when the parent is authoritarian, because a child is not sure how that parent is going to relate, react, or respond to anything that they may say. So there's a sense of fear with that authoritarian father or parent. I don't want to just say father, but parent. And so that's not good either, because what it does, again, it allows a child to begin to look for love in all the wrong places. And they feel like their parents don't really love them because all they're getting is criticism, ridicule, belittling. And parents have done that to their children. And when they do that, it is detrimental to the growth and development of your child. And then we've got the neglectful parent that may be in the home, but is so consumed with themselves and what they're doing and their lifestyle and their jobs and everything else that the children are fending for themselves. And when that happens, children lack social interaction action skills. Kids end up not having discipline, and they too look for love in all the wrong places. And then you got the authoritative parent, and that's the parent that is nurturing, listens to their child, makes that child feel love because they listen. And I mean, listen without your phone, without your pad, without your computer, without watching the TV, but listen, looking that child in the face and in the eye and talking to that child and letting them know, I hear you, I see you, I understand you. And when children grow up like that, then when they're in middle school and high school, you're not going to have a problem with your child coming to you and telling you what's going on in their lives. The other parents, their kids may not come to them because they're afraid to come to them. They don't trust that their parent is going to be there for them because they haven't shown it in the past.
So I'm going to say this. I agree to a point because, unfortunately, again, when you're talking about some of the young people we're dealing with, when you talk about mental health, um, or when you just talk about again the change in generation,
Yes.
uh, it's a different generation that we live in. Um, and unfortunately, while that last one may be the most conducive, may be the most helpful, I was gonna go back because you just ran through the rest of them, so I didn't get the chance to talk about the other ones. But even when it comes to the authoritarian, no, I definitely don't agree with that because again, I grew up that way,
So
and
did I.
it really kind of made me question, as I got out, and into the world. What can I do? What can I not do? It really kind of, I want to say it kind of stifled me a little bit,
Yes.
when it came to dealing with the rest of the world, I guess you would call it. At the same time, though, certain discipline has to be necessary. And again, go stand in the corner is not going to work.
So
You
so are you a component of corporal punishment?
I'm not saying corporal punishment is the only answer. I'm going to say that. But in some instances corporal punishment is necessary.
Can I say something regarding that?
Go ahead.
When we, in my opinion, when we use corporal punishment to resolve an issue, in my opinion, what we're doing is telling a child, this is how you deal with conflict. This is how you handle situations. And so looking at it from a different perspective, because my son, I didn't use corporal punishment much with my son. I did a couple of times because it was like one of those things where, oh, okay, I did. But afterwards, I made it clear to him. I talked to him and I apologized because I don't want to have to use that. I didn't want to have to use that. But I did. And then I talked with him to help him understand and apologize because it's nothing wrong with parents apologizing to their kids. I apologized to him. And also, I have learned that I can handle situations differently through effective communications with my child. and helping them understand, well, how could this have been different? What could you have done differently? What are we going to do moving forward? And having those kinds of, and engaging them in the decision making process for their behavior. I'm clearly passionate about this. Let me calm down. I'm going to give you the floor.
So I'm gonna hear you. I hear you, but then I'm also have to disagree on to a degree because um, corporal punishment is, like I said, constant corporal punishment. That's how I would define it. Constant corporal punishment, or that being the only tool to discipline a child. I don't agree with that. Um, but saying that corporal punishment is not necessary, I can't agree with that. Now, and the reason why I say that, because again, like you said, whether it be 2 times or once a year, however it goes, the thing about it is, and then back to the apology part, because I think that's the part that I really grabbed hold of, is the apology part. You don't apologize for chastising your child. I don't
Well,
feel.
I'm not
I don't,
saying, okay, I'm sorry. But I'm not saying apologizing for chastising or disciplining, but apologizing for the way that I did it. There could have been a different way that I could have done it at that point in time. And those times were very few and far between. But anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
so,
I just wanted to interject that.
but I mean, the reason why I said that, because again, it's one thing if a parent did something wrong. Chastising your child is not wrong. Now, again, I understand what you're saying. You don't chastise your child when you're angry. I get that. That is
Yes.
definitely important. But
Yes.
chastising your child is still not wrong. And when a child
No.
is not chastised, again, as the scripture says, and I know we have different interpretations of the scriptures, but even when we talk about in the scriptures, if that was the case, then you're telling me Yahweh should not have whooped those people in the temple then too, right?
No, what I'm saying is there's another scripture that says,
Okay, no,
provoke
no,
not
no.
your child to anger. There's a
It
scripture
was
that
a
says,
joke.
provoke not your child to anger, right?
Okay, but and again, it's still not provoking your child to anger. Understand that we're not provoking the child to anger. We are establishing boundaries. That there are rules and regulations
Yes.
that you cannot. There are consequences when you do things, and that's why I go back to the scriptures, because we cannot dismiss the scriptures in anything. If Yahweh most known as Jesus, if Jesus chastised those in the temple
But he
for
didn't hit
your
him. He didn't hit him. What he
acts.
did was he threw over the table.
There was a whip involved. There was a whip involved. But
Are
again,
you
that
saying that Jesus hit somebody?
yes, he did.
All right, I don't know about that. I don't
Well,
know.
again,
You can show me the scripture tomorrow at work.
the point is this: if Jesus will chastise those who are wrong,
Yes, and he did.
and so therefore we cannot do it any different than our children, because unfortunately that's what happens. And like I said, we have more parents who are the children's friends and don't establish that boundary. Now, I understand the whole telling your children you're not their friend, but you're not. I'm not your friend, but you still don't spend time. You still don't spend quality time with them, which you mentioned earlier. That's still important. Yes, I'm your mother or I'm your father. We can spend time. We can laugh, ha ha, he, but I'm still an adult.
Right.
And I
Exactly.
and I've witnessed a an adult who still calls their parent by their first name. Now, again, I would never do that. I have no desire to do that. But again, that tells you not my and that the adult I'm talking about is in their 30s.
Yeah.
So therefore, that lets you know that there was already
A
uh,
disrespect.
well, not even that. There's already a bad cycle that could be possibly started, because that person now at 30 years old thinks that okay is okay. So who's to say they're not going to pass that on to their child?
Exactly. And
So
you,
go ahead.
exactly. My son is 40. He'll be 42 this year, and he still calls me mommy. Mommy. But anyway, um, I agree with you, and you mentioned boundaries several times. Boundaries are very important. But oftentimes, what happens is parents will set boundaries, particularly the permissive one, will set boundaries, but then let them slide.
Mm-hmm.
Boundaries should be non debatable. Boundaries are non debatable. Guidelines are flexible. And there is a difference. There are certain things that you will not allow, and there's no period. There's no getting around it. That's very important. And that's one of the things that authoritative parents do. They set boundaries that are non-negotiable and guidelines that are flexible. And they engage their children in the decision making process with the understanding that the final decision is mine as the adult. But wanting and getting and receiving feedback from your children, I think is very important. And I also think is very healthy.
It is. I believe that again, no different in any situation. Again, I believe in a word called synergy, which means no part is greater. No single part is greater than the whole. So communication is always going to be important.
Absolutely.
You know, whether it be in a relationship, be it in parenting, um, but again, kind of feel like we got away from the topic because unfortunately, that's what we talk about when it comes to fathers. Fathers are known for setting those boundaries and making sure that those things are kind of adhered to. And then when you have the mother, I mean, I know some mothers that will are just as hard as fathers are, and then the fathers are the other way around. But when it comes down to it, you need both of them. You need both parents, be it one authoritative, one what you call it? What's the first one?
Authoritarian or
No,
permissive.
permissive. But not too permissive, because you don't want the child to again, me being a man, see, that's that moderate thinking. Both parents are definitely needed. You
I
know,
agree.
it's too much stress on one parent trying to do both. But when you have situations where one, again, like you said, be it because they don't want to move on, be it because I don't know, hearsay, outside influence, that's why those kind of things happen. But when it's all said and done, your children are still going to end up be the ones end up losing. Well, I'm a permissive parent. I can be permissive and I can be authoritative. Okay, you can try it, and let's see if it works. Yeah, like you said, I agree with you 100%. Authoritarian is not going to work across the board, period, because you're going to have children walking around in fear. You're going to have children that are basically going to be they're going to end up being antisocial because they have no idea how to deal with the rest of the world.
Right.
So, respecting and understanding what each parent brings to the table is important. And if you can't do that, then that's what counseling is for. That's what, certain professionals are for to help you understand that, hey, it's not just about you. It's just not about him. It's
No.
about both parents. But
And it's about
unfortunately,
your children.
right. But when you have, unfortunately, our system who allows certain things to happen, I can't allow that not to be mentioned. But when you don't, when you have a system that allows those certain things to happen and basically enables one parent or basically disables one parent, more not even enable, but disables one parent, puts one parent at a disadvantage, then yeah, you're going to have situations like that. And like I mentioned earlier, and probably the biggest reason, in my opinion, why some of these cases I mentioned or why children have been dying because one parent tried to do two jobs and they can't do two jobs.
And I just want you, because we've only got less than 2 minutes left. I just want to say to parents, it's not about you, the mother. It's not about you, the father. It's about your children. It's about you creating a healthy relationship between the mother and the father so that your children can see that regardless of how you may feel about each other. And I'm speaking from experience as well as what I know. I mean, if it were up to me, I would never see my ex-husband again, and it would be okay. But that does not negate the fact that he is the father of my child, and my personal opinion of him does not matter. What matters is him having a relationship with his child. I can be out of the equation altogether. Charles, I'm going to give you the last word. We're at an hour, but I'm going to let you close us out.
All I will say is this, and I didn't wear the shirt today. I usually wear it in conversations like this. Um, Understand this: the law is not a weapon. Um, if you feel like you cannot handle co-parenting situation, or you can't handle, negotiating with the other parent, then it might be necessary to get the law involved. But to try to use the law as a control mechanism, it's not going to hurt that other parent as much as it's going to hurt that child. Of course, if that parent really does care, then it's going to hurt that other parent. But it's going to hurt that child even more, because if you understand something when it comes to law, first of all, the law does not. I mean, it's set up to it say you care about the children and family, but they really care about money first. So when you get the law involved, you're taking away from the finances that could be used to help that child, for that child to really understand, I can have fun with both parents, but now that one parent is at a disadvantage. Why? Because they don't have any money. Now the other parent looks like the best parent in the world. The law is not a weapon. Remember that when you're dealing with your children. And on top of that, your feelings, like Vera already said, your feelings come secondary to that child. That child should be able to have both parents and not have to feel the love, the care, and the discipline of both parents, for that matter. But that, again, child does have to be the focus, not the law.
Amen. Thank you. We're going to have to do this again because there's so much that we need to unpack. So, parents, please take heed to what we've said here tonight. And please set aside your differences with each other. Please, for your children's sake. God bless, and we will see you next week. So, have a great, no, we'll see you on Thursday. I have a guest on Thursday. So, I will see you on Thursday, same time, same place. God bless. Have a great evening.
The Vera